Welcome back, one and all, to Three Kobolds Gaming as we play episode 16 of Heroes of Absalom. That's how important it is. We need a double intro for tonight as we come back after a brief 2-week hiatus. Thank you, everyone, for showing up after we took a break for the Super Bowl and for Valentine's Day.
So many things in February happened. So
And
many
it
events.
feels like it's only been 2 weeks that we missed, but it feels like it's been an eternity because I just want to get back into this story that you guys are unprepared for. Daniel, your thoughts?
I'm just nervous to see what's going to happen to Shark after he attacked that bigger, more stronger bodyguard that we were of the guy we were chasing. You know,
Yeah, we had quite the cliffhanger at the end of the last
We
session.
did, we did.
It was tense. Yeah.
Speaking of Shark, everyone has their lives, right? Everyone has things going on in the background and things that they, are just working through in their personal life. And it is with sadness, but also jubilance and warm wishings that we bid Gray a farewell. He's deep into his master's program, which does require just a lot of his attention and his time. And so as he is going about finishing his degree and working on his education, we wish him a fond farewell, as he will not be a part of the, at least the live portion of the Three Kobolds Gaming for the foreseeable future. So we do want to wish him all the best as he pursues his higher education, and as he goes forward. We're going to miss him a lot, but hopefully at some point in the future of Three Kobolds Gaming, we'll see him again.
Hopefully.
If this if his masters doesn't kill him. But how are you guys doing? It's been 2 weeks. How do you guys feel? What have you been up to?
I'm hungering for some Pathfinder.
Seriously.
Honestly.
Yeah.
I feel like we're level 3 now.
I haven't rolled dice.
Hey, I feel the same thing, Daniel.
I'm
I
glad
feel
you all
like-
have confidence. I really am. That will help as you finish out level 2.
I haven't rolled nearly
I-
enough dice recently. My forearm is like out of shape from not rolling.
Honestly.
It does feel weird, coming back. You take a break from a game, and it's very. I consider myself very lucky that we have a group that can actually meet regularly to play.
Yeah.
Not everybody has that luxury. I know of groups that meet once a month. I've heard stories of groups that can only meet once a year, as people fly out to different locations to meet their friends to play, 16 hours of D&D or 16 hours of Pathfinder in a weekend before they head back home, and that's their group for the year. So I do consider myself very, very lucky to have some very close friends that I can meet with regularly.
We have a clunker of a session. Imagine you just don't do anything. You just keep notes and then get an RP done for 16 hours. Then you fly home and you're yeah, that was a good use of 6.
I mean that has happened to us. We did play a game. Myself, Jack. Not 16 hours, good lord. But myself, Jack, and Ben, we played a first edition Pathfinder Kingmaker, which we've campaign, which we've talked about before.
I know the exact session you're talking about.
But there got to a point where we could only meet once every 2 months or once every 6-8 weeks. And then Ben had stuff to do and Gray had stuff to do, and we got together on one Saturday at Ben's apartment for, I think it was 10 hours that we played Pathfinder for.
It was a marathon.
And we did 2 combats and really nothing happened, but we played for 10 hours, and it was amazing. Just
talking. It was talking and decision making and world building, and it's that's the beauty of this game is you don't need to be rolling dice and doing actions to have fun for it. So
For sure.
but yeah, it was definitely a trip to what did we do today? We killed 2 things, and then we did diplomatic relations with part of our government.
And decided how much money to put into our burgeoning ship-based tavern.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a whole other nonsense. But like I said, very lucky, very blessed to have a group of people to play with regularly.
And we're playing for 12 hours right now, right? This is our
12-hour session. Going on.
12-hour live stream. Stick with us as we bring
Get
you
ready.
the highest tier of quality Pathfinder 2nd Edition.
Could you imagine?
Will, you prepped for a 12-hour session, right? You did that.
Oh, I have prepped through book 6, but we'll see what happens. There are 6 books of the Pathfinder AP for anyone who's wondering. But with that being said, once again, we jump in. And as I move my OBS out of the way, we return to our jovial jury of jazzy juggernauts as they finally come to a head in their journey.
I forgot about
Having bested their roguish opponents during the second round of the underground tournament known as Princess Puddle's Royal Rumble, the group takes a moment to reflect on their enemy's connection to the Copper Hand, the same group who accosted Twinkletoes and Bastro just a few nights prior. But inevitably, they are called to fight in the third and final round, aiming to win and collect their prize. However, as the round was meant to begin, the crowd falls silent, waiting for the starting bell that never comes. As a resounding explosion emanates from the VIP box, sending the remaining patrons, powerful figures from the underworld, representing dangerous and highly illegal groups from across the city, that are sent flying into the arena covered in billowing alchemical flames. A woman, identified as by Princess Puddles as Alamur, drags the chest of prize money to the lip of the VIP box and declares her victory, despite her team of Copperhands being defeated by our very own Secreteers, and then exits into the thick cloud of smoke left by the explosion as the arena erupts in chaos. The group does catch, however, the sound in sight of 2 men calling for Jeremy to get him away from the danger. Recognizing this man's name as the one connected to the incident at the Dragonfly Pagoda, the group gives a quick chase, attempting to cut through the panicked crowd to catch the mysterious blonde man before his escape. They succeed in making it out of the underground quickly, but not quite by enough to counteract Jeremy's head start, as they see one of Jeremy's guards closing the door to a carriage and sending him off into the night of the city as they exit out of the faux sewer entrance that makes up the entrance, the service entrance to the hideout they had just fought in. The group does, however, catch up to the bodyguard, and Shark leaps onto his unaware prey. Now, this is a little tricky. It's a little tricky. Because Shark was the first one out of the sewer grate. And you watch him bolt as you all crest the lip and get out onto the streets of the Puddles district. You see a carriage turning the corner around a ramshackle building about a block away from you. Presumably the one that Shark saw Jeremy get into. And you watch as Shark full-on tackles a human man 3 times his size to the ground, just fueled by alchemical strength. What you don't expect, however, are the thick jets of blood that stream from the man as Shark rips into him. Jaws and claws digging in to this human. You hear the sound of whistles as this is happening. And what at first you had thought just to be background noise of the city clarifies into the rhythmic thump of boots on cobblestone. More and more of these whistle sounds begin to appear, tweeting in front of you, behind you, around you. As you look around to identify the source, the brewery that you all had been directed to is now on the other side of a river off behind you. But you see what looks to be the light of a multitude of lanterns converging on the brewery. As you see town guards rounding the corners. As you begin to gain your bearings, I'd like Forsyth and Twinkletoes to go ahead and roll perception checks. Unless somebody else has a better, but I think Forsyth and Twinkletoes have the best perception checks. I could be wrong on that.
Mine's poop.
That's not great.
I rolled a 21.
21. Twinkletoes?
I apologize. I didn't realize I was muted. I rolled an 18.
18, 21. Both are high enough to recognize the fact that there seem to be multiple, buildings that you see just people streaming out of. You would begin to think that there are a number of entrances that are built into the buildings around you, that the crowd is now fleeing out of and crowding onto the street and dispersing into the night. But as they do so, from many of these buildings, you see the light of the town guards' lanterns as they begin to descend upon the brewery. And just the same, you see a trio of guards who round the corner that Jeremyn's carriage just leapt out of. And seeing the sight of Shark biting and ripping into this man before them, you hear one of them shout, "Hey! Hey, stop! Stop! Town guard! Release that man!" And inevitably, Shark continues his rage, biting and scratching into the man twitching, attempting to throw him off. And despite his size and stature, he's like 6'6", full muscle, 250 pounds. Just can't seem to get a grip on this tiny goblin that is ravaging him. Shark pays no heed.
I rush forward and try to pry Shark off of him.
Okay. Go ahead and roll an athletics.
With my +0, that's going to be a 4.
Okay. So you attempt to grab Shark around the waist, but the unpredictable movement of this goblin, just in a pure frenzy, you're unable to gain purchase on his form. And as you do so, you see Shark whip around to face you, kind of hopping off of the body of this man, and turns to look at you, and you just see red in his eyes and these black veins that have begun to protrude from the corner of his eyes, reaching up across the sides of his forehead and down along his cheeks. Not something that you've seen from Shark before. And you just see the viscera dripping from his jaw, indications of the bite wounds on the human below. The guard continues their approach, yelling, "Halt! Stop! Get off of him!"
How far away are we?
You're about 20 feet away from him.
Okay, and the doctor will also rush up.
Go up
after,
and bro.
after Twinkletoes.
After
does
we
he
do a... Oh, go ahead, sorry.
Does he notice the black marks? Or like
Yeah,
the bleeding?
after you get like about 5 feet away, as you see the same thing as Twinkletoes tries to like grab him around the waist and pull him away. He just slips out from her arms, turning towards her and like growling this guttural growl, almost like no hint of recognition in his face. It's terrifying, honestly. You see like the widely dilated goblin pupils covering the vast majority of his eyes. You're not quite sure what's going on right now.
Could the doctor roll a medicine check, because Shark and the doctor have a bit of a history
Sure.
medically.
Go ahead and roll that.
He wants to see if there's any recognition he has.
Sure.
Is there any other recall knowledge check that could be rolled for that?
If you have an alchemy, I'd let that go. If you have a nature, I'd let that go.
There's a 20 total medicine
20.
check.
Yeah, so a 20 is enough to identify that there is some side effect from his usage of mutagens in combination with what you know has already been plaguing him. The doctor, you're aware that he has had just some form of disease that has been slowly eating away at his health, that neither of you have been able to remedy thus far, but Shark has been kind of covering it up with his alchemical concoctions. You recognize that there is some strange interaction going on that neither yourself nor Shark accounted for, and it looks like it's finally come to a head as he's been imbibing his concoctions so frequently recently. And as you're like checking things off in your mind, you're going through like your patient history with him and trying to figure out what's going on. The guards, the three of them, now approach one of them in front, saying, "Cease! What has happened here? What happened? What did you do to this man?"
And
He's
Ember
like,
will walk up to Shark very quickly and try to touch him on the shoulder. He will cast Sanctuary on Shark and whisper, "Brother, can you still hear me? Are you there?"
Go ahead and roll me.
Because he's never seen him like this. This is Penumbra for a bit was like flabbergasted and just frozen by what he's been watching. He just had no idea how to respond to.
Go ahead and roll me a
in front of him.
diplomacy check.
24.
24. For a moment, it looks like there's like no recognition of you as he like jolts to your touch, kind of like once again backs up, and then he kind of blinks and rubs his eyes. I don't know what. When did we get upstairs?
Brother, I think things are going to happen
What?
that you
Where
will
do you?
not be in control of, and I want you to know we are here to defend you.
What's?
We will fight for you. It just may look slightly strange.
But and as you're having this conversation, another one of the guards is pulling manacles from his belt.
The doctor will really quickly like put out a hand to the guards and say, "Guards, please! There's a medical emergency happening. There's something that I need to do to. We need to help this goblin."
Go ahead and also roll me a diplomacy.
And while he's doing that, I think Penumbra will kind of turn to Bastro and Twinkletoes and just give you guys a look of like, let's let this play out. Like they're not gonna hurt him, but we need to not interfere with this.
All
Kind of
right,
like
but
almost putting himself between you two and the situation and being like, let's be cool. Let's just play this out.
But maybe Bastro could heal that god that Shark almost just took the head off of.
Yeah, I wanted to see how badly hurt he
Yeah,
was.
go ahead and roll a medicine check.
Okay.
Forsyth, what did you get on your diplomacy?
That's a natural 1 for a
Hey.
Um,
I got a 12
Okay.
for medicine.
all right. So, the guard pulling out the manacles, as well as the other one not in charge. There's one that is clearly like it comes kind of some kind of sergeant, who is like surveying the situation now, kneeling down next to the injured man. The one pulling the manacles and the other one now begin to surround Shark. The one that you were speaking to, the one who pulled the manacles, looks at you and says, "Of course there's a medical emergency. Do you not see this man on the ground? This goblin must be apprehended." And goes to put the manacles onto Shark.
The doctor really doesn't know how to respond to that. He looks to Penumbra almost like what do we do?
So, I mean, I don't think putting manacles on somebody would qualify for sanctuary because you're not trying to harm him. The whole point was that I wanted them to not be able to hurt him, and then they can just arrest him and take him away. I think that Penumbra will just look back at Dr. Forsyth and give the same look that he gave to Twinkletoes and Bastro, and even maybe whisper, "My brother is clearly not well, this you can see, and he's become increasingly dangerous to both himself and to others. He's almost killed this man, and if we stand in the way of the guards from dealing with that situation, we are just as culpable as he is. If we're going to continue on our mission, Shark's punishment needs to be laid out without our interference."
Very good. Now, you. And he turns to Shark, holding the manacles out open, as if like offering the manacles to him. "You've got one chance to come quietly. Now we watched what you did to this man. You can see him on the ground, and the like guard is now the sergeant is now pulling out like a med pack, basically of medical supplies, attempting to do like triage on him. You can come quietly. I don't want to have to drag you in." And he like kind of, it almost looks like he's hesitating because he watched what just happened now to that man. He's like, I don't want to catch the bad end of that. You've nearly killed this man. We must take you in for questioning.
The doctor bends down and also starts looking at the wounds on the guard as well.
And we'll send a message to Shark if he can, just saying, "Brother, it's all right. Go with him."
Okay, so Dr. Forsyth, go ahead and roll an aid with the medicine skill for Bastro, since I still haven't resolved that yet.
Gotcha. Okay.
Shark looks to the guard and like looks down at his own hands, just saying, I don't know what happened. We were in the ring, and he like looks up at the guard and then looks at Penumbra, just confused, lost, and holds out his arms, just slowly reaching them out towards the guards. The guard puts the manacles onto him, locks them with the key, puts the key on the belt, and begins pulling him away with the other one. The sergeant's still on the ground, looking at the bodyguard, Jeremy's bodyguard, with Bastro and Forsyth. Forsyth, what did you roll?
I successfully aided, so Bastro has a +1
Okay.
on his medicine check.
And Bastro, what was your total?
That was a 13 total.
13 total. So this man is very clearly, he would have been essentially dying one, but you're able to stabilize him. He had not quite stopped breathing, but you could see very clearly that if he had been left for even 30 more seconds, he most likely would have bled out and died. But between the helping hands of the triage, although clumsy from the sergeant, but then your medical knowledge and Dr. Xavier's surgery expertise, you're able to stabilize him so that he's at 0-8 or at 1 hit point and unconscious.
Bastra would like to cast his special witch cantrip boost. Sorry, I meant to say he'd like to cast life boost on the fallen guard.
Okay.
So he gets 8 points of healing.
Gets 8 points of healing. You see him on the ground. And he like instinctively like grasps at the side of his neck that had just been like the chunk of it torn out and magically regrown. Just like feeling it, like still feeling the wet blood across him, but like feeling that there's solid flesh and skin now there that had previously, moments before, been absent. And it just looks like in shock on the ground. The sergeant, seeing this, says, "Very good. Thank you for the help," nodding towards Basro and Forsyth. We'll make sure to take care of this one. Do any of you know him?
He's speaking about Shark.
He's
and
speaking,
Malekla, you're muted.
like pointing towards Shark.
He is my brother.
He's
And
our
your
comrade.
And your name? Speaking to Penumbra now.
My name is Penumbra Starbear.
You see him pull out a notepad and start writing.
My brother's name is Shark Thorngrabber.
Shark, Thorngrabber. Very well. And is there anything else we should know about him before taking him in?
Yes. One thing you should know is if any harm comes to him, the entire force of the cosmos will collapse upon you and anyone else who stands in my way. I want this to be as clear as possible, so don't be misunderstood.
Cosmos collapse. Anyone in way.
Turn to Bastro and I say, in every group I've ever been in, I've always been the most dramatic. But with those two, it's just...
You never know with them. Sometimes they just hate each other, and then next
By
thing
the
you
way-
know, they're threatening other people over them. It's just
Yeah.
By the way,
it's so cute.
Penumbra is still fully glowing. All of his tattoos
And
are-
floating and like,
Yeah.
yeah.
His clothes are floating off of him a little bit. He is still fully glowing white.
And like one
his
of your,
tattoos are lit.
and like as you're doing this, like one of the edges, as you're having this conversation, one of the edges of your vest just like floats up and flips him in the nose as you're standing there. And he just, and he just like stares at the sleeves for a second, and takes a few steps back. We'll be in contact with
The
you.
doctor also, before the sergeant backs away, says, if you have any medical experts at wherever you're taking him, please make sure he has some of this. And the doctor will just hand over some like medical salves that he thinks may help with the condition that he saw on Shark. Please provide these to any medical personnel you have.
Oh, okay. He like takes it and puts it in a pouch on his belt. I appreciate your cooperation.
I turn to Dr. Forsyth and I'm like, is there any way that we can try to question this bodyguard before they take him away or something?
Well, the sergeant's leaving, but the bodyguard's like not going anywhere yet, right?
Are they taking the bodyguard with him for questioning?
The sergeant like looks down and says, "Are you all right?" And the guy just kind of looks up, looks at your faces, just says, "Yeah, I'll be fine. I'm good. Yeah." It seems like he's even less willing to deal with officers of the law than you all are.
Suspicious.
Surprise, surprise.
Yeah. And then I think Penumbra will just, before the guard takes Shark away, he'll just say, where will you be taking him? In case I might be able to visit or track him down.
will be in contact with you. This is still an ongoing investigation. As he like gestures past you all back towards the brewery, you see like what could only be about 20 to 30 of these like police lanterns that his compatriots are carrying that are all like enclosing around the brewery. You see somebody at the back door, looks like a guard at the back door that you all went down. You can hear the boom, boom of what sounds like a battering ram on a wooden door, as they're apparently were tipped off to whatever was going on here.
Oh crap! Wow.
And are trying to figure out for themselves. Fortunately, you all made it out before the police got down. So,
the brewery is like functional, right? Like there was
the
like
brewery is a functioning brewery. Yes.
All right. I think that Penumbra will then turn to the group and say very loudly, "Well, do you think we still have to pay our tab for those drinks?" And then start to usher us to leave.
Vic, I'm not sure, but that's definitely what we were just doing in this area, was having drinks
Yes.
and nothing more.
Ales and wines and such. Perhaps we should go pay our tabs.
I left half a glass of ale. I want to go back in, but
Oh, no.
I guess it's too noisy and cramped in
It's
there.
it's
I think
probably
you all are still drunk. Let's go.
it's probably flat and warm by now, but we should leave.
And you know, why don't you come too, new friend? Join us.
Are you speaking to the sergeant?
No, not the sergeant.
to the
guy on
body-
to the
bodyguard.
to the fallen
Yeah, yeah.
bodyguard.
Oh, okay. He like looks up and like holds up a hand. Like help me up.
Bastard helps
Twinkle
him out.
Toes goes over and tries to help him up, but she's only 3 feet.
Yeah, so his hand like engulfs like from your elbow down to your wrist, and he like grabs you. Go ahead and roll an athletics check.
Oh, God.
All right. 15.
15. So much to the surprise of every single person watching and the laws of physics, you are able to like you dig your toes into his heels and lower your center of gravity. Your grip's just strong enough to actually wrench him off the ground as he like pops up and is now upright. The sergeant just like drops his jaw at that point, watching this like 3 foot nothing halfling just ascend a large man in such a casual manner, and says, "I think we're good here." And the three of them, now encircling Shark, begin to lead him back in the manner which they came.
Penumbra just watches as they go.
So does Twinkle Toes.
The guard, Jeremy's bodyguard, just stands there. So, about that drink.
No, it's time for you to leave.
We need to talk to him.
All right.
I think we all need to leave.
Yeah,
I thought we
All of
were-
us leave, is what I meant
I
to
thought
say.
we were getting drinks.
yeah, we're gonna
It's-
go.
We
get-
know
It's-
another spot.
Look,
It's going to be hard in this establishment, but we should go to a different one.
Well,
I think you should be quiet and listen to Twinkle Toes is what you should do actually in this very moment.
well, that seems rather rude for a drinking companion, but I suppose.
Then I kick him in the shin. No.
Oh my god. Oh.
So out of character? What's your plan here? I'm curious.
Let's go to our bar.
We gotta
Yeah.
question this guy, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
The
I
tipsy,
wanna...
is it the Tipsy Tengu, right?
Tipsy Tango.
Yes.
Correct.
Yeah, we got our private room where we share secrets.
Yeah.
And he has
room.
plenty of secrets we need.
The secret sharing room, yeah.
Where a dream was born of the
So the
Secret-
Tipsy
secret
Tango,
secret meeting, yeah.
just for reference, is like an hour and a half away.
Oh yeah.
Well,
Let's find something a little closer.
Let's
Yeah.
find another bar we can use a secret room to share secrets in.
Sure. So you walk down the street. I'm assuming trying to get at least a decent distance away from the brewery that is now currently being actively raided by the police. And eventually you happen upon the Ram's Head ramshackle, we'll call it. Seems like a pretty run-of-the-mill tavern. They've got a couple, it's 2-story, decent-sized, like, mead hall, main area. Seems like a communal stew on a large pot in the center. A number of open seats at the bar, as well as 2 tables, none of which are particularly private, as it seems like a very cramped establishment. But there also are rooms available for rent if you wanted to take that option as well. What would you all like to do?
Should we try to find like a quiet table on the second floor and question this guy over some drinks?
And certainly somewhere away from listening ears.
Yeah.
If you guys decide that you want it to be a little bit quieter, your options here would be to rent out a room. There's really no tables on the second floor of the establishment, or you could continue searching.
We didn't ever actually do that thing where do we ever lease an apartment? Do we have a place that we live in now?
No.
That we ever actually accomplished?
Wait, did you?
We do.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
100% we do.
We definitely did.
Did I settle
We
your
had a
rent
week
costs?
downtime. Yeah.
I don't. That's why I'm confused. I don't remember why they're settling a rent cost, but I don't know.
We definitely have our
believe
own
we
place.
did.
This is something that we will revisit, not on stream.
God, if only we recorded these sessions so we could revisit them and find
Oh,
out.
I know. That would just
God.
be too convenient.
Too convenient.
So
We
easy.
definitely want to question this guy.
But
about
either
that.
way, if you did, it would have been in
It would have been in
the precipice quarter and not the puddles,
Yeah,
which would
not here.
also
Not here.
run into
Yeah.
the issue that it's an hour and a half away.
I think right now we're literally just trying to find a place where we can sit down and talk to this guy, not in the middle of the street.
Sure.
I mean, that's my understanding of what
Yeah.
we're trying to do, right?
Yep,
Yeah.
So
yep,
should we just rent
So,
one
are you
room?
renting a room here, or do you want to continue looking for like a public establishment that might have a little bit less of a presence?
I'm fine to rent the room. That's what-
Let's just get a room to talk in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't
So-
know if we care that much. Yeah.
It's a 2-bedroom room, about 8 by 10, so it's a bit cramped. There is a singular chair as well as a twin bed in there, a trunk, a table with the chair, and what appears to be like a dresser of sorts. Enough to fit you all in the room, but I wouldn't necessarily call it comfortable.
And I think we would all just take a pretty casual approach
Yeah.
to what's going on here. We all get drinks and
Yeah.
all.
That's
go back
also
to the
going to
room
be 2 silver for the night.
Okay.
Continental breakfast in the morning, though, so they've got
Hell yeah.
waffles.
Oh.
Um, But I wouldn't trust the quality of the bacon. But that's just me.
So if we like all sit down with this guy, Penumbra, I think will just like sit as close to him as he can, and Penumbra doesn't have a drink, by the way. He has like a glass of water or something.
Do you all order drinks?
Yes.
Yeah, I think we'd get
We
drinks
would've
and bring
got-
back to the room.
yeah.
Master would have gotten a drink.
It's going to be 2 copper per round per person, so just mark it off. This guy cannot afford his own drink since he doesn't have
I
any cash
will
on
be
him.
getting his.
Okay.
Very good.
Um,
I'll also cover the room cost.
Okay.
And
did-
we're still disguised, by the way. I just
You are
remembered
still
Yo,
that.
disguised.
we are. That's right. Oh shoot.
And so is Twinkle Toes.
And so what?
You're still disguised.
Probably
you still-
another
you still
reason
have your
why the
costume
sergeant
on.
didn't necessarily want to deal with you is that you're wearing these
Look like a bunch
outrageous
of freaks.
costumes. It's like
So
these
the doctor takes
these people
off
can't
his,
possibly be criminals.
his golden green mask. He takes off the golden green mask he's wearing.
Oh my god! You're a person under there. And you're blue. He takes the drink from Twinkle Toes and he said he kind of like gives like a stoic sigh, just like a okay. So what are we doing here? What do you want?
Well, we're just here to
So,
have a conversation, I believe. We're all a little shaken up, I'm sure, from the encounter, and
Well, I'm a fan of drinking and talking, so you've got at least one of those down.
cheers
As he-
to that.
Takes a
we
swig.
do have a few specific questions for you.
I might have answers.
Fair enough. The man you were hired to protect tonight,
Yeah, German
that-
Hoff.
is
Yeah.
that a just tonight thing or a regular thing?
Not really. Most nights I work 6 to 2 a.m. most days.
So
6 days
you're
a week.
regular employer,
Yeah.
employee,
But I'm getting
alright.
overtime for this shift, so I'm not going to complain.
All right, very nice.
German Hoff pays pretty decent, surprisingly.
What do you know about what he does during the day?
Oh.
What would you say his occupation is? So what can you tell us about him as a person?
I would call it what you might say a power broker. He knows a lot of people and knows a lot of things about those people. And he's one to make connections where you might not otherwise have them.
Does he have a position in local government? Or does
No, he tends not to be really a public figure. He's well, I guess technically he's a tavern owner, if you want to call it that. Place by the name of House of the Plains.
If you're gonna say Tipsy Tango, I was like, blah blah blah.
I know.
No, a place by the name of the House of Plains. It's not legally a business entity per se, but it's in the underground, actually, literally under Absalom.
You mean it's under the ground,
It's
literally?
under the ground. It's crazy.
And is that House of Plains as in the plains that of existence, or plains like an open
Yeah,
plain?
it's a theme restaurant basically,
Like a rainforest cafe.
like Emerald Thursdays.
Emerald,
You know where the
Emerald Thursday.
you know where
And
the
those
entrance to the
Sapphire
underground
Wednesdays we've all been to.
restaurant is by any chance?
Oh, I know where the entrance to the restaurant is, but the slight problem being that you all would need invitations, and after everything that happened tonight, I don't think he's sending out invitations anytime soon.
You make a fair point. He's going to go into hiding. If he were to escape
Where is he
somewhere,
going now? Yeah.
Oh, he's going to the House of Plains for sure.
right, he's still going to hide there. All right.
Very well guarded. Lots of really powerful people that both work and patronize there. Anyone that you might want to know in the underground, it will be there on any given Thursday afternoon. Yeah, it's
Emerald Thursdays.
Emerald Thursday afternoon. Yes.
So,
Um,
this is not Penumbra's forte. He's good at convincing people to tell him things, but like thinking of strategies and plans, he's not a very smart guy. So he's just kind of like waiting for cues from Forsyth and everybody else who's got higher intelligence than him.
Twickatos, go ahead and roll me a perception check for a sense motive.
I was curious if I could do that too, actually.
Sure, go ahead. I was just picking the person who I thought had the highest. Go for it.
Could I also roll a society on the House of Plains?
You can. Anyone who has lore Absalom can also roll that, which might be a little easier.
I'll roll society too.
I don't think I have the highest perception, just by the way, but I rolled a 7.
What's your perception
for
bonus?
a total of 13.
Oh, I also have a +6 perception. I think Forsyth is higher.
I have a 6.
Okay.
I got a 24 for society on the house.
Oh,
of
it's
Plains.
definitely Dr. Forsyth. Yeah, 100% Dr. Forsyth.
So I rolled an 18 society on House of Plains.
What was your sense
and then,
motive?
The sense motive was a 26.
26.
Oh,
No,
man.
wait, 27. Sorry, I can't do math.
So I'm going to start with that. for the position that this guy is in, it seems like he is almost worryingly forthright with the information that he's giving.
Oh, okay, that was the impression I got too, and I'm glad.
It's like
I was getting too.
it's like
Yeah.
he honestly does not care if you know, because it seems like to him it doesn't really matter.
Which is a little worrisome, actually, about how well fortified this place must be.
That also tells me that we're not getting valuable information. We're getting just the surface.
Surface level.
Yeah, I mean, if you guys want to try anything else, like, by all means, but just as far as not having rolled any checks and just asking him straight up questions, so far you've just gotten seeming like straight up answers.
Yeah.
So
Can I try to make an impression on him?
it's
And,
been
like-
over a minute. Yeah, you could definitely do that.
Cool.
I'll try and do the same.
Do you want to explain what making an impression means?
I could.
Jack, do you want to go
Jack
ahead and
would
do that?
probably do it better.
So it's a diplomacy check. It's what it sounds like. After you spend a certain amount of time talking to somebody in a particularly friendly way, the game uses something called it's all attitudes, and there are various levels of attitude somebody can have for you, from friendly down to hostile. And the mechanical way, the thing we're trying to do is improve the attitude by a certain number of steps.
Yeah.
To make him like us more and be more willing to be on our side.
Yeah.
For context, we as a party are all friendly with each other, and people we fight we are hostile to them.
Yeah.
And there's certain other charisma-based or diplomacy checks that you can or cannot do based on the attitude. So we are trying to make him like us in the simplest way we can.
Yeah, so
I rolled a dirty 20 for my diplomacy
very
check.
good. So there are 5 levels.
19 for mine, yeah.
There are 5 levels of attitude, as Jack mentioned, going from helpful, which is above friendly. Just wanted to clarify
sorry,
that.
forgot about that.
Helpful, then middling is indifferent, so neither positive nor negative is indifferent, and then the worst of them being hostile. Depending on the situation, NPCs will start at any given level on that track. But right now, Twinkle Toes is trying to improve that relationship level, at least with her and this person, by 1. And with her role, you are able to do that. So it does seem like, especially with the aid of the drinks that you're providing, that he seems to be getting more and more comfortable. What was a kind of, as I mentioned earlier, an almost stoic, like, let's get this over with facade, seems to be like, now he's just drinking and talking smack about his boss.
Talking shop, yeah.
Yeah. So he's like, yeah, I mean, there's some bruisers over there for sure, and all of the bosses, that patronize the place, they have their own security that come with them. I mean, it's a nightmare sometimes, the things I have to put up with, all these requests and demands. Ugh.
So it's a quagmire of bureaucracy and all sorts of unsavory things.
And I mean, customer service is one thing.
Right.
But then when
of
you're
course.
dealing with people who will literally kill you over nothing, I mean, it's a nightmare.
Toxic work environments, am I right?
But at least, I mean, the only thing that's keeping me there is the fact that I have to provide for my little girl, Susie. I mean, if I didn't have her, we all make mistakes, but she was a blessing. If I didn't have her, I wouldn't be working for Jeremy, wouldn't need the money. But, the things I put up for her.
How did you get employed by Jeremy? How did you meet him or start this?
Well, he was recruiting at my gym, and he just kind of like,
What gym do you go to?
the dude has like 32-inch biceps, okay? So like,
Alright,
he's
I
just
don't
like,
know.
I mean,
Does the gym you go to have reasonable member fees?
it's like four silver a week if you got the.
Bad in the current market.
How many squat racks are there in the actual gym?
Is it crowded during the day or more like weekends?
I'd say your best bet is like Wednesday morning,
Yes, it usually is.
and they've got
Is
6,
there-
by the way.
You have to look
Free
rough.
rack policy?
But there's always that one asshole who curls in the squat rack, and I don't understand.
My friend. Do we know this guy's name, by the way?
You haven't asked.
Yeah,
We never asked,
we haven't
actually.
asked. My friend.
I
It seems to have.
asked and then got talked over.
Oh,
Oh,
my
I'm,
bad.
I'm sorry.
I'll ask again, just in case. And he'll be like, my friend, I believe your name was lost in the chaos. Might I? We know your girl's name is Susie, but yours, friend,
Oh, my name is Bill.
Bill, of course.
Bill,
Ah,
Bill,
lovely to meet you.
you mentioned that Jeremy's a power broker, and I'm sure a man like that has many connections.
yeah?
Do you know of anyone he works with that may desire Jeremy to be out of the picture?
I mean... Not that I can think of off the top of my head.
Do
I
you know
mean-
anyone we might contact for more sensitive information regarding his business dealings?
I'm not really too privy to his business dealings. Feel like you'd have to talk to him. I mean, I just kind of stand there and look scary.
And is there anything you've heard when you're talking or standing, looking scary? Anything you've overheard about current business dealings or upcoming endeavors from his office?
I mean, the most recent deal was that thing with the kobolds. But I heard that kind of went south.
Yes, I heard that some very brave folks dealt with that exactly the way they intended, and everything went perfectly smoothly.
I mean, he does a lot of business.
Is it in any particular industry or field, or is it sort of a mishmash?
If you need something that isn't necessarily legal, Jeremy's the guy you're gonna talk to.
Right.
It doesn't
And that covers a
particularly
wide
matter.
range.
Yeah, it's more like, it's not like Jeremy is providing the services. Jeremy is providing the information about how to get the services. So
How
people
do we get in-
people generally don't get upset with Jeremy. Jeremy is not
So
the
he's
one.
Like,
It's like the
He's
H&R block of
he's like an
Absalom.
he's like an operator, but
Right. If you were to think of like LinkedIn, he's like the LinkedIn of the underworld.
Mm.
He connects
Very
the suppliers with the workers.
Is he going to constantly send me emails about how my resume looks like shit?
Yes, and then he'll also offer you a resume writing service on top of it.
How annoying. Bill, you've been helpful. I'm not sure what else you can help us with, but
How do you know how one gets an invitation to the house, to whatever it was called? To
Oh, well,
the house.
House
of
of
Flames.
Flames.
you know, that's a good question. Generally, you have to be somebody pretty important, at least in the underworld.
Well, I'm famous, so
Do you have an invitation to the House of Plains?
The Secret Tears would have won this
not
whole
yet.
tournament.
but-
You're not
if
that
other
famous.
circumstances.
yes, the explosion was quite inconvenient for our victory, but we still were the victors of this.
Almost
Then
there,
you might
yeah.
get an invitation in the mail. I don't know.
Well, Bill, maybe
mean,
you could put in a
Bill,
good
maybe
word for us.
Put in a good word for us, yeah.
I could talk to him. No guarantees. I'm just a guard. I just stand there and look menacing, like I said.
Well,
But if you need more guards, the Secret Tears are a powerful
I
force to
can't
be
s-
reckoned with.
You know, I appreciate the offer, but I can't imagine he's too keen on hiring people he doesn't know right now.
I mean,
I
you
don't
saw
know.
his
Yeah,
fight,
yeah,
right?
I'm just like with the whole political climate in the other world, just kind of went down the drain recently within the past hour. So
So, what do we know about the people who set off are taking credit for the explosion and set off with the money?
the
Were those
copper,
people-
the copper
Those
hand.
it was
Copper
the copper
hand.
hand.
It was the Copper Hand, and what do we know anything? We don't know anything about the leader that with the woman was talking to Princess Puddles, like gloating over her.
Go ahead and roll a society check.
Could I do the same?
Sure.
23. That
Okay.
is a
Natural
shockingly high society check for a.
For a 7.
So, Alamore rings a bell. You heard Princess Puddles refer to the woman as Alamure.
Mhm.
It rings a bell as the name of, at one point, a the surname of a minor noble house that kind of fell into disgrace at one point in the not so distant past, within the past like 6-8 years. But as far as you're aware, Penumbra, that's like the best, you know.
And
Like
that like really explain what happened.
yeah, it doesn't. That's the information you know about the name Alamur. The only piece of information that you have about this woman right now.
Well, the you know, as we were competing, the competition was fierce for sure, but the Copper Hand was the most interesting team that seemed to come out of nowhere.
Yeah, I mean,
Do you know anything about the
pretty
Copper Hand? I'm
surprised.
curious to hear your take.
I mean, well, it seems like they're pretty sore losers. No, I
And
mean,
lose they did.
I mean, I've never seen that woman in my life, and the group. I mean, I'm not quite sure how they even got an invitation to the Rumble. To be honest, I've never heard of them. They've certainly
They're so new, aren't they?
they've never been to the House of Plains. I've never seen her before. I would recognize her if she'd been,
That's interesting.
but
This up and coming thieves guild that like no
Yeah,
one knows.
relatively new.
This guy's not exactly the authority on the underworld, but he's been around.
I just stand there and look menacing.
So you've said.
We've had dealings with the Copper Hand before the tournament, sort of more of a street mugging that was part of a large ring of street muggings that took place afterwards.
Oh yeah, that happens. That happens a lot, actually.
Is that more of their purview? Is that what they do? Are they simple brigands, or are they more organized?
They seem to be just what they're calling themselves, a thieves guild. How organized they may or may not be, it's not. I don't know, but they certainly got the drop on Princess Puddles. I'll tell you that.
Yes, quite unfortunately. I think Penumbra will just sort of like.
Sorry, you said her name was Alamur?
Yeah, that's what Puddles said. Yeah.
I think Penumbra will just like take his water and start to like. Is there a window in the room?
Twinkle Toes, that definitively rings a bell with you. Is there a window in the room? No.
Okay. He'll sort of like start doing something else, just like taking his mind off the current investigation, sort of like playing around with something on the desk or distracting himself.
There is a crudely drawn painting on one of the walls that looks like it's trying to imitate a window, but it looks like it was drawn by a 6th grader.
He will pensively stare out at the window and like swirl his water.
It's like a really nice like hillside vista with rolling waves of grass, or at least what attempts to be rolling waves of grass.
Yeah.
That looks native to no country anywhere near Absalom. It looks like the upper reaches of Taldor, with your worldly experience, which is hundreds of miles away.
Yeah, not anywhere he's ever been.
So just not relevant whatsoever to the current
he's
climate.
doing like like when you go like stay at a lake house or something, and you like wake up in the morning, you get your coffee, and like you're standing out looking at the sunrise, and you just got like both hands in the cup. That's what he's doing. He's just like he's just looking at this shitty painting,
Staring at a wall.
staring at a wall.
I don't think we're gonna get anything else yet. The doctor's kind of done with this conversation,
Yeah.
I think. So he's just gonna spend the rest of the time like making small talk and.
Well,
Shoot the shit. Yeah.
You guys have identified a few things. You've identified the House of the Plains,
Yeah.
which is
sounds
where
very-
he is likely going and will be located for the very, foreseeable future. It is apparently a very, very fortified location filled with a lot of very powerful people. And generally, it is an upper scale location that requires some form of invitation. So those are your clues so far.
Right.
So I wouldn't say you didn't get anything out of this. It's just...
Oh no,
How did you-
I'm saying we didn't. I don't think we'll get anything more. I think
Gotcha.
that this guy
Yeah.
has.
I think you were
kind
saying
of
we're
given
done.
one-
Yeah.
Yeah. I would like to pursue a lead or change the leads that I had, so I can have 2 active at any time. I think I only had one active.
You only have one
before
active on the.
Jerriman. I think it was on Jerriman.
I thought it was on the poison substance, unless you changed that.
Well, that was like a while ago. I
Right.
was on the poison substance.
So, do you want to change the poison to, or did you have house?
Well,
Sorry,
it was
go ahead.
on Jerriman. It was on Jerriman.
Gotcha.
I want to change that one to the House of. Oh my God, why can't I not remember the name?
The House of Plains.
Planes.
Thank you, House of Plains.
House
and then
of the
a
Plains.
second one on the Copper
The
Hand.
House of the Plains.
House of the Plan. House of the Plains.
House of Plants?
The House of the Plains.
Yes.
Okay.
Home Depot?
All right,
House of
yeah.
the Hand.
And like,
House of
Penumbra would understand that
The House of Thespian.
planes would be capitalized in this instance.
Right. As in, like, shadow plane, material plane,
Yeah.
Yeah.
etc.
Planes as in ANES.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the aircraft.
The aircraft.
What's an aircraft?
So,
Well,
has Bill left? Did Bill leave? Are the
Bill's
four-
chilling there. He like
Bill's still there?
kind of like
Okay.
swishes around the last little dregs of an empty mug and kind of just like looks up at Twinkle Toes and holds it up at you.
You want me to finish it?
Oh, he wants you to get him another one.
I'd like some more if that's all right. I don't have any cash on me, but I can Venmo you.
I think Penumbra will pay for his next one if he wants one. Because
Oh, sure.
Penumbra's not paying
Yeah.
for
Do
drinks.
we
So.
do we still need to talk to him? I think. Do we have any more questions for him? Or...
No, but it's a show of good faith, and we don't need this guy to go back to Jerriman and be mad and badmouth us. We want to keep that diplomacy if we can.
True. Good point.
At this point, he's just drinking and having fun. Like he's like, I
That's
got out of
fine.
there. I did my job. I'm off. Like I'm right after work. Let's grab a
Alive.
drink.
Yeah, I think that's cool. Is it 2 copper for that?
It's 2 copper per round. Yeah.
All right. Penumbra's actually gonna leave. I think Penumbra's gonna go back to his place in the puddles, or Shark's place in the puddles.
I
Do you have a key to
Also-
Shark's Place in the Puddles?
I assume.
That's a really good question.
Maybe while he's getting arrested, he's like he has the room key.
Bastard's gonna go up to Dr. Forsyth and be like, maybe we could get an invitation to the House of the Plains through Princess Puddles. I mean, she was kind of our sponsor for that fight, right? Maybe she's important enough to get us like a good word or something.
Well, and I think Princess Puddles would definitely be interested in potentially finding out more information about this. So that's maybe not a bad place to start. What do you think, Twinkle Toes?
I think that's a good idea. Before Penumbra leaves,
Yeah.
I'm gonna say, rather than going back to your place in the puddles, could we all maybe go back to our place so that we could discuss some other things in a more private manner?
Sure.
Oh yeah, where do you live? Bill turns around and asks. I'm down to take this party
You know,
somewhere else.
Your company's been wonderful, but I think I think we're going to
I think
Retire.
your daughter needs you more than
Yeah.
Don't you have a family?
But she's got a babysitter until noon tomorrow.
Well,
Until
perhaps you take. The
I didn't know
babysitter
how
and
long
your
this was
daughter.
gonna take.
Perhaps you bring both of them over to this room and show them, like a nice little hotel vacation. We have the room for the night, right?
Yeah, you're welcome to stay here.
Much more so, Bill. I don't care what you do. So, goodbye.
Have a
So-
lovely evening.
So no after party then.
The party is over. There's nothing. We're not really the after party
not with
crew.
us.
We're
Sorry.
more of the go home and read a book for a bit before you go to bed after the party.
Oh,
Can
that's
you at
so-
least
so
order a
nice.
bottle of wine to the room?
What, is Susie gonna drink it for you? What? I mean,
No, I'll drink it in exchange for not following you.
Yeah, we can do that.
All right,
Yeah.
very good. Wine's gonna be
But it's gonna be
7
to be
silver.
rail wine. It's going to be nothing that we really want.
It's going to be Franzia, the Galarian equivalent.
At this
of
point, I'd
Franzia.
take Black Box, but so that's gonna be another 7 copper for him not to follow you.
I'll pay that. I'm sick of looking at 8 copper. You know what? I'll tip the wait staff. So yeah, we go back to our apartment.
So it takes about an hour and a half, and at this point, it's like very early morning. The culmination of the tournament, with you like exiting out onto the street level, probably it went from 9 a.m. when you entered the brewery to about 12:30 in the morning when you finally come out of the onto the street level. That plus your encounter with Bill and the cops and Shark. You left there at about 12:45, found a place to spend the night, quote, at the Ram's Head Ramshackle, probably 1:15, and then that whole conversation ensued. So you're not getting back to your apartment until about 3:30 in the morning. So it is
Okay.
late and or early, depending on how you want to define it. And as you all are walking back up to your newly purchased property, we're going to go ahead and take a break there. Thank you all so much again for joining us for episode 16. We'll see you back here in about 12 minutes, 8:30 Eastern Standard. Thank you all so much. Don't go anywhere. We'll have more show for you in just a moment.
See you soon.
Welcome back, everybody, to episode 16 of Heroes of Absalom. As we left off, our heroes just finished questioning Bill, the bodyguard, a member of the team responsible for Jeremy Hoff, the underworld power broker that our group has been chasing since they learned of him during their escapades at the Dragonfly Pagoda. You all return to, after a long night of battle and inquisition and intrigue, your friend and brother, Shark, being arrested for the crime of attempted manslaughter, which, again, I just have to remind you all, happened literally right in front of you. You all end up back at the apartment that you all rented in the Precipice Quarter. Weighing heavy on your mind are a few things. This Jeremy Hoff figure, seemingly more powerful than you had originally anticipated. Also, the nonchalance with which Bill presented all of this information, as if it was just widely known, or that you were just somehow out of the loop, not even like it was some closely held secret or anything, seems to beg some question as to what is really going on. And the fact that you now have to deal with this House of the Plains, where Jeremy is likely holding up for the near future, surrounding himself with all of these powerful underworld patrons, as well as his own security force. It's a tough cookie to crack, but you have the night to sleep on it. Is anyone doing anything before they go to bed?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead and talk to me.
So, before we go to sleep, I turn to the party and I say, I know it's late. I haven't been completely honest with you all about some things, and I think it's time that I was. Can we talk?
Are we doing the secret sharing again?
Secret sharing at night.
Yes, I think we are.
Breakfast, or would you prefer to get it over with now?
I prefer to do it now.
Then do it now we shall, and Penumbra will just plop down in the living room, like sitting on the floor.
You've got a futon, a fold-out chair, and a 4x3 table in your living room. Good luck.
And we're using moving boxes as seats, as you do.
Absolutely. So you all know that I'm like relatively famous. And the reason behind that being that I took down or helped to take down a minor noble family with corrupted ties, who were you know just like a bad family. Well, that family was the Alamure family. And they know who I am.
So is that why the Copperhand attacked you that night?
Yeah.
So Ileana is your real name?
So, like, that's the thing. Like, nobody calls me that.
But
The only people who ever called me that were my parents.
so it is your name. You said that you had no idea what they were talking about. You lied to me.
It seemed like too much of a coincidence because literally nobody knows that name. Like, I haven't been called that name since I was 6.
Except for the whole guild of thieves who tried to kill us and also just stole all of our prize money.
Twinkletoes,
So
you said only your parents ever called you that, but are they the only ones who knew that name when you were a girl? Who now could know? Is it possible that the Alamir family could know your real name?
So the thing is that everybody thought that I was an orphan. And my parents, they are just, they were servants, so their master knew my name as Eliana as well.
Who was their master?
Will, what was the name of my parents' master?
It's in your backstory, Emily
Is
Grace.
it? I don't even.
But
Okay,
it's
just
not.
one
It's
second.
not the Alamir family. It's not the
That's
Alamir
what I
family.
was. That's what I was.
It's not the Alamir
Yeah.
Okay,
family.
okay.
No.
That's what I was curious about. Yeah. Okay.
So then, the Alamir family somehow extracted the information from the Fitzgeralds.
Yes. Somehow they found out who I was. Perhaps. I don't... So when I got back to Absalom, I went looking for my parents and they were gone. The family that they worked for was gone. I don't know how long they've been gone, but they are gone.
Well, that seems like a strange coincidence that the guild, or it seems too strange not to be, something more, that the guild of someone you helped take down knows this secret about your past.
You're correct, Dr. Forsyth. It seems not a coincidence at all. It seems to tell me that the Copper Hand is much more dangerous than we may have originally assumed.
Yes.
And they may not be as new as they appear on the surface, or at least have connections to something potentially more powerful.
This does not bring me joy, but I will say it. As much as we've been chasing German Hoff to catch him, or to stop him, perhaps German will serve as our greatest ally in defeating the Copper Hand. If somehow we could engage with German to acquire resources or information, we could take down the guild.
I really think talking to Princess Puddles is our best bet to trying to connect to these other higher underground lords, I guess, or whatever you want to call them.
Agreed. Have Princess Puddles arrange a meeting with us and German in order to get what we need to take down the Copper Hand. Sounds like a
Well,
plan.
we can frame it too. We're trying to get Princess Puddles' gold. The Copper Hand stole gold. She had a better chance at winning.
At least, and of course, I'm not
let's be
assuming that
honest.
the Copper Hand's gold.
We would have won that gold too. Like
That's
that
what
gold
I'm
was
saying.
basically ours. So
We're the greatest fighting force that the world has ever seen. Of course we would.
All right, I think we should just get some shut eye right now. Just like sleep it off. We had a tough few fights, but tomorrow morning, just go find Princess Puddles. Hopefully, someone here knows where we can find someone like that.
And
Thank you for sharing, Twinkletoes.
yes, Twinkletoes.
I know that was probably not an easy thing to reveal, but we appreciate, as part of the Secreteers, we appreciate your forthrightness.
It feels good to have someone else know.
And now we will help you put a close to that chapter of your life, relating to Alamur or whoever the name was.
All right. I'm gonna go to sleep.
Bedtime.
Same.
A little bit of rest.
So, feeling freshly unburdened of the information that Twinkletoes had been holding on to, having heard her birth name for the first time in many years, and finally giving outlet to whatever stressors that had put on her, she and now the rest of the group descend into a quick and deep slumber. You all arise the next morning to the day fresh and bright outside, and a swift
Level 3.
rapping knock at your door.
Who knows we live here?
Oh wait, yeah, that's a good question.
Isabella, maybe?
Who knows that we live at this location?
I
That-
hope.
I'm- I think the door would knock and we all just like
Yeah, we'll go.
look at it. What? Well, who's going to answer it? Can't be me.
I
I'm a
am gonna
goblin.
go peer out the window to see if I can see who it is.
Yeah, good idea.
I think Bastard's just gonna answer.
I need you to roll me a reflex save, first of all.
What?
Not
God,
not
you're
for
gonna
not
be
for
great.
anything nefarious, just to see how quick you are in answering the knock. Twinkle Toes.
Me?
Yes, you.
Oh, okay.
The one who said, I'm going to answer the door.
Oh, I didn't say that. I said
I
I'm
said
gonna,
Astro
I'm
said
gonna
that,
peer through
yeah.
the
That was
window.
Astro. That was
Bastard
Oh,
said that.
okay. Whoever said they were going to peer through the door, roll a reflex save just to see how quickly you are able to answer the door.
I said peer through the window.
What window are you speaking of?
Do we have a window?
No.
Then I would have.
We bought an apartment with no windows.
Okay.
It seems to be a common theme.
After we were in the hotel room with no windows.
They haven't invented Windows yet.
That's not
windows
a
at all.
commodity.
No, it's not that they haven't invented Windows, it's that you have not paid for Windows yet.
Absalom has outlawed windows after the Great Window Catastrophe of
Windows are
4704.
a luxury.
It's crazy. After an entire siege of undead trying to get in, Windows just made it too easy, so...
Yeah. Windows killed my grandfather, actually.
Whoever's trying to answer the door, roll a reflex save.
I
One-
rolled.
One person.
I rolled an
That-
18.
Okay.
18? Okay. You are just in time to see an envelope hit the ground, having come through the letter slot on your door. You open it up, look down both ends of the hallway to see no figure in sight.
So a letter slot, but no window.
Yeah,
Okay.
one of those
can't even
things is
undead through
vastly
the
more
letter slot.
useful than the other. I'll let you parse which one is which.
Yeah, when those swarms come attack, when the whispering tyrants was using swarms, those letter openers are just that's it. That's a goner. That's done. It's locked up.
I opened the letter.
So you take a look at the letter. It is a simple
Oh, is it addressed to me or is this not
parchment letter sealed with blue wax embossed in silver in the shape of a shark's fin.
Oh.
legal? Penumbra, I think
It's from Shark in jail.
Possibly. I mean, I don't know whether they would give him like fancy wax and embossing powder, but
A
Should we
shark
just open
fin
it
in
and read
blue wax. That's not shark. I don't think, but I'll open it.
Well, I think Twinkle Toes has possession of the letter at the moment, so.
I handed it to Penumbra.
Okay.
And Penumbra will open it.
If you
yeah.
open it, it has just a single line of handwritten script. It says 3 p.m. on, geez, I always forget the Galarian equivalent of the days. I
Moon
believe it's
Day, Toil Day.
Wheel
Wheel
Day.
Day.
I believe
Wheel
it's
Day.
Wheel Day. Wheel Day, which is 2 days from now. It says 3 p.m. Wheel Day and has an address.
What day is it today? Is it Moon
Today
Day?
is Moon Day.
Okay.
What are the days of the week in this world again?
It is so okay. So they kept Sunday, right? So then Sun Day and then Moon Day, and then there is Toil Day, Wheel Day, like wheels and woes. I do forget what Thursday is, and then it's Fire Day, Star Day.
Wow.
Toil
That's
day.
amazing. What
Yeah.
is like
Oath Day is Thursday. Oath,
Oath
Day.
Day. So you see 3
I can
p.m.
understand why Oath Day would be hard to remember for Thursday.
Doesn't
Still
tell me
does
anything.
have
It's the only one that's not like directly
a
similar.
bizarre interpretation of the actual one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It says
Oh, I
3
love it.
p.m. Wheel day,
Moon days.
and there's an address listed in the Eastgate district.
Eastgate.
Okay.
Anybody familiar with the Eastgate district?
So let's I'm gonna throw you to the map here, the map of Absalom,
Back to the map.
just so we can all take a look at the beautiful, beautiful artwork of Absalom City. So we have, you all are located in the Precipice Quarter, all the way to the southeast. Your apartment is probably going to be somewhere in here. The vast majority of the Radiant Festival, including Knight's Menagerie, has been down in this corner, down here along the side here. Marin's workshop is far to the north here, and these like thicker, what do you call them, beige lines represent the quarter breaks, the borders of the quarters. The address in Eastgate seems to be one of these out like far to the north of Eastgate, kind of like out there, out in what you would consider like almost the edge of the wall, basically, out here.
Aren't those thick beige borders like the major roads?
They are major roads, but they are considered the break of the municipalities of the quarters.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's like uptown versus downtown.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
But you're right. You need major roads to like traverse onto those areas, and then you have
Correct.
side streets and stuff like that,
Correct.
like highways almost.
Yeah.
Is there, could I roll like a society on the shark?
thank you.
If
Sure.
I
Go for it.
recognize like anything, or like this address or Eastgate. If
And
anything
the letter said Moon Day, right? For the
No,
It
it is
said-
Moon Day today, 3 p.m. Wheel Day.
3 p.m. Wheel Day address.
It's a 17 society.
You recognize the shark fin symbol as some of the same symbology on Isabella's
Okay,
clothing.
Ah.
cool.
Okay.
Does it smell like her?
We know her name. Why don't you just sign her goddamn name? Why she gotta be weird about it?
You smell it, and it smells strangely of lilac and gooseberries.
Nice.
Oh my god, guys.
All right, so 2 days.
She's
2
pregnant
days.
with a perfume.
That was a very, very specific reference, but all right.
Okay, so we gotta find something to do for 2 days. Find Princess Puddles, right?
that or gather information. But I'm down for finding Princess Puddles first.
Well, so I would argue that we are still in downtime now. So take a downtime activity if you were trying to attempt to gather information on the whereabouts of Princess Puddles, and you succeed, you might end up having a scene in which you talk to her or try to get to her in some manner. But otherwise,
That is what I will do.
choose a downtime activity, and then we'll go from there with your results.
Okay. It's diplomacy for gather information, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Just trying to find the list of downtime activities really quick, just to remember.
Same.
Here we go.
Here's a 22 diplomacy for gather information, which is what I will spend most of my moon day doing.
Can
Okay.
you hit me with that list? I'm trying to find it as well.
Yeah. I'll put it in our chat, our
Thank you.
Facebook chat.
Just to remind the listening audience and everything, downtime is, there are 3 kinds of time in this game. You have like downtime, you have exploration mode, you have encounter mode. But downtime is meant when like you don't need to really be concerned with the minutia of the actions. So
Yeah.
like if there's a long span of time where we're just kind of doing stuff, this is what we'll be using. So I'm just like walking around asking people for information, trying to figure out like follow up on leads and stuff like that. There's also like if you have to craft things like building stuff or treating wounds or diseases. You can also earn income. There's all kinds of stuff you can do. We talked about this before, but just this is still
You
what
can
we
gossip?
what we are up to.
There's a
You can.
mechanic for gossip.
You can spread rumors about yourself. It's
Okay.
all pretty cool stuff.
Dr. Forsyth, have you decided on an action to take for Moon Day?
I mean,
Do you want to come with me and help gather information?
yeah, I don't know if any of these are going to be super pertinent for the doctor, so he will join in the Princess Puddles escapade with Penumbra.
I think like you'd be like telling me where to go, and then I'll be asking the questions, and then I'm like, all right, what's next? And you're using your big investigator brain to track this down.
Twinkle Toes will also partake in that.
Okay.
Are we all doing it? I mean,
So one person
that was
roll the
true.
main check, being Penumbra. Everyone else can attempt to aid.
Bastard, what do you have to?
Bastard wants to investigate the Copper Hand and see if he can get some
Okay.
information on the.
If you'd like to roll a separate gather information on the Copper Hand, by all means.
So we did learn that keeping one person by themselves is a bit dangerous. Does Twinkle Toes maybe want to participate in that
That's
investigation?
the one that I'll help with, yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Okay. So Penumbra Forsyth are investigating puddles, and then Bastro, Twinkle Toes are going after the Copper Hands information.
Checks out. And this is a
Sick.
what check?
A diplomacy.
All right, I'll aid, and Twinkle Toes,
You-
you can make the check.
Okay, do you want to roll first or do you want me to?
Aid will
You
roll
roll
first.
Do you aid me, Forsyth?
I'll roll first.
Yeah.
You already rolled, so
check.
Forsyth is aiding you.
I-
Oh, okay.
Well, I'll also tell you, I'm. Diplomacy is not going to go well.
You are flavor helping me on this investigation.
Same with me. I got flat 14. I have
I
nothing
do
in
not. I
diplomacy.
do not aid.
Okay, Twinkle Toes, what's your total?
I haven't rolled mine yet. So you do not aid, Daniel?
Correct. I do not aid.
Okay. My total is gonna be a 16.
Okay, so we'll start with that one. As you are going about, roll me a perception check.
Me?
Yes, you.
Oh no, I don't like that at all.
Oh, natural 19. That's gonna be
Natural
a
19.
25.
So you are combing through the Precipice Quarter. You are already familiar with the fact that the Precipice Quarter seems to be the locale of the Copper Hand. This has been already established to you through your other information-related checks. And as you're combing through, you are talking to various citizens, denizens, peoples, craftsmen, workers that you meet, trying to gain more information on the Copper Hand. Unfortunately, the vast majority of the information that you're getting is just that there have been a number of people who have been just straight up pickpocketed or robbed recently. And the information that you're putting together leads you to believe that the vast majority, if not all, of the people that you talk to either have been or know somebody who has been robbed and or pickpocketed, whether or not they are like a shop owner or just a random citizen, by the Copper Hand at some point in the past month and a half. So it seems like they are out in force. Everyone's like, oh yeah, I've seen the symbol. You like might have like a little parchment with the Copper Hand drawn. You say, yeah, like they would wear this. It's got copper thread on the patch, like on their vest or on their shirt. Everyone's like, oh yeah, I've seen that. I know a guy. Or I was robbed. My business was robbed. My grocery stand was robbed. Like, it seems like there was nothing, and then all of a sudden, like a month and a half ago, like, they're just going at it, just robbing, stealing, whatnot. And the problem is that the Edgewatch, the guard of the Precipice Quarter, the city guard, have
It
just
spread so thin.
been unable to, with the amount of people that are currently flooding into the Precipice Quarter due to the Radiant Festival. They are just entirely unable to deal with it, and just having a Copper Hand on your shirt is not evidence, right? They can't just arrest somebody for having a Copper Hand on their shirt. So they're running into this like catch-22 where they are seeing members of this Copper Hands Thieves Guild, but they can't arrest them. And then when something does happen, they're just slipping into the crowd and getting away with it. But the vast majority of residents that you're meeting, now, I'm not talking about like festival guests, I'm talking about like residents that you're talking to, either have been or know somebody who knows somebody who has been robbed by the Copper Hand. And it all started just like very recently, out of nowhere, seemingly.
All right.
We're going to jump over to Penumbra and Dr. Forsyth.
Yeah.
You all are going to need to go a little farther for your information. You guys are going to need to make the trek over to the Puddles District because that's where Princess Puddles operates. Go figure. You all hear a lot of, shall we say, editorialized versions of the story of what happened last night about the guard raid on the underground, Royal Rumble. You hear about like a big, explosion. You hear about like people talking about like terrorist attack, talking about like turf war. They're talking about like these gang violence, gang war kind of activities going on. They're talking about how the police jumped in. But everyone you talk to, they all say Princess Puddles, like, she, like, survived everything that happened because you all saw that she survived the attack, but then that she disappeared into the night, that nobody knows what happened to her after she left the brewery. Whether or not she was arrested or whether or not she just made it to a safe house or just, actually disappeared, went invisible or something. Because you all know from your prior experience with her that she does have magical ability. But every recounting is slightly different, but none of them know specifically what happened to her.
Okay.
If you pass by the brewery, you see that it has been cordoned off by the town guard, and that there are a number of guard posted around the entrances to the brewery. But it, as far as you are able to tell, is inaccessible at the moment.
Okay. Do we know
Unfortunately, a dead
how?
end.
Yeah. Do we know how people like the Minkai workers and the kobolds got in contact with Jerriman to have him fix their problems? Because we know that conversation was, I want better rent. Oh, we should go find out if Jerriman can help us.
Yeah,
We need help from Jerriman. How would we do that?
So unfortunately, you don't know specifically how they got in contact. That's not a question that was ever asked of the relevant parties. But you do know that he operates out of the House of the Plains.
Yeah.
And that seems to be the common denominator, that it's Jerriman Hoff operating from the underground tavern known as House of the Plains.
And the people who went missing were the ones who were talking about Jerriman. So it seems to me, help Isabella and the shark people find the missing people, find out from them how to get in contact with Jerriman, then proceed. Right.
You all reconvene at the end of...
Before while Forsyth and I are out,
Go ahead.
I think at some point, like while we're just like walking down the street, Penumbra will kind of turn to Forsyth and very bluntly just say, Doctor, you are a rather strange fellow, and I have some questions for you.
Yes, Penumbra. What do you mean?
Why do you wear a ring of Arrowden?
Oh, shit.
I think the doctor is taken aback by that comment and doesn't really know, and I think he like reflexively grabs the ring on his left hand. I think he's surprised that you were able to pin it as a ring of Eredin, which it is. And he sort of he like grabs the ring, looks down, and kind of like chuckles and goes, "Penumbra, what do you know of Eredin?"
Not much. The Shawanti speak of him in small passing. He's not a main figure in their pantheon. But when you are a Shawanti mystic planning an excursion over to Absalom, his name comes up at least a few times.
What are you curious specifically about? What?
Your hatred for the divine magics and for the practices that Bastro and I participate in. We have very different approaches to such things, but I'm curious as to why a man of science is not only so dismissive, but also seems to be allergic to the preachings of divination and divinity, and also wears a ring devoted to the greatest god that humans have ever worshipped.
Penumbra, in the interest of the Secreteers, this ring represents a different time in my life. A different time altogether, for that matter. See, this hatred, as you put it, which is not how I would describe it, it stems from a long history of learning how faith interacts with our world and what these deities, as you call them, truly are. These deities that watch over us, they're no different than you and I in a grander sense. And I at one point was a follower of Eredin, a cleric of Eredin, in fact. But as I said, this was a different time in my life. And this ring represents a memory of a better time, a better world, a simpler world.
Xavier, you might be surprised by this, but I agree that the deities of the primary pantheon of Galarian are shit. I believe them to be nothing more than reflections of the worshippers that they have garnered through their tricks and their performances. Of course, they're powerful beings. That's not to be misunderstood, but the world is changing. Science and learning are becoming more important, and faith is seen as archaic. I find the worship of these gods disgusting.
You might have more of a hatred for them than I do.
Perhaps I do. And yet here I am, an oracle of a mystical being, and you, a literal doctor. A strange pair we make, Xavier.
Yes, Penumbra. Penumbra, this is something I've been want to bring up. Do you know what I am? And he like sort of does one of these, like. No, I don't know if you all have directly asked why I'm blue.
Do you mean the blue thing? Yes, I remember.
Yes.
I've seen people like you before, but to say I know exactly is not quite accurate.
I believe, truthfully, this is not how I view myself, but we are referred to as Duskwalkers.
Duskwalkers.
I knew it! I knew it!
What is a Duskwalker?
I lived in the time of Eredin.
My word. That is quite bizarre.
Over 100 years ago, by the way.
More than 100.
Yeah, at least hundreds of years ago.
Oh.
Yeah.
But do you mean that you lived while he was a man? Before he was a god?
While he was at his peak before the fall of Aslant.
Before the fall of Aslan, that was thousands of years ago.
Duskwalkers. I was a human. And this can I can complete this story another time, but let's just say the gods arbitrarily decide who gets more life. They pick and choose. They play games with the mortal coil. And they choose people to be reborn as these beings. I learned of this in the astral plane, and thus began the hatred, as you put, towards how these deities treat those on the material plane. It's a game to them. They don't care about us. They use us.
Quite an interesting tale.
And I've been given a second chance, and I hope to use this second chance to bring forth a reliance on ourselves and those around us and what is on the material plane to improve the world. And not rely on these magics and these creatures that do not care about us. They pick and choose who gets a second chance.
So it seems we agree on more things than I originally thought.
So this ring represents a time in my life. A different time in my life, a different time altogether.
I think that Penumbra will just kind of walk with you for a bit before saying anything else, kind of let all that marinate for a bit. Yeah, I don't think he says anything else. I think he just kind of lets our conversation end.
And the doctor the whole time through that conversation is like fiddling with the ring on his left hand.
Mm-hmm.
You all stew in the metaphysical outcome of the conversation that finished, as it takes about another 30 minutes or so to return back to the apartment. Now about 9:30, 9:45 at night. You enter the apartment, second key happening to be with Penumbra. Luckily, you managed to
The guy with the keys. Got keys everywhere.
split the two keys between Penumbra and Twinkletoes before you all split up. Enter to find Twinkletoes and Bastro already preparing your evening meal, ready for a solid dinner followed by a solid sleep. Is there anything else you all would like to do with the last bit of your day?
No.
I think Bastards just going to sleep.
Okay. Once more, you all fall to bed, the weight of the knowledge you had gained falling heavy upon both groups, being somewhat of a, shall we say, not disappointment, but there not being as much there as you had hoped to be as you move into your toil day. The day prior to the day listed on the letter that you'd gotten from Isabella. What downtime actions is everyone taking on toil day?
I would like to do some gather information on the Alamures.
Okay. Anyone else?
Is there? We have no idea what the invitations for the House of Plains looks like, right? Like we haven't seen
Correct.
it. Okay.
Looking at the same thing. Create
forgery?
forgery.
Yeah, that's
I
exactly.
was looking at
I
the
was looking
same
at
can-
that.
thing.
You can definitely try, but you have no original from which to
We shoot
copy.
in the dark.
So...
That's so funny. Imagine we show up with a fake one, we just get put in like
Yeah.
we just get arrested.
You
by them.
also never really asked where it was.
I mean, it doesn't matter, right? Like, unless we're gonna break in, which wasn't really the plan.
All we know is it's underground. That's all we know.
That is all you know at this point.
There's so
I
many
guess,
undead down
yeah, Baxter's gonna gather information on the whereabouts of the House of Plains.
Okay. So we have Alamur for Twinkletoes, location of the House of Plains for Bastro, Forsyth and Starbear.
I will help. I will help Bastro.
And Will, is
Yes.
there? This I'm going a little off the list here potentially, but I
Then
think
no.
the doctor. I think the doctor is thinking a lot about the conversation he just had with Penumbra,
Sure,
and he's reminded of those beings hunting him,
sure.
and he wants to like potentially use one of these activities to help throw them off the scent somehow. You know, they've essentially repossessed his previous apartment that he had. Can I like maybe either forge document or bribe contact or maybe even gossip and do like, you know,
Gossip is interesting.
create like rumors about the doctor's location.
I would say gossip is probably your best bet.
Okay.
Without knowing specifically how they managed to find your prior
Right. And
living
that's a big
space,
problem.
you would assume that the best place to start would be to sow rumors that would lead any person asking elsewhere. That would be your best starting point. It is by no means, from what you understand now, a foolproof action.
No, not at all.
But
And
it
the
is-
doctor's aware of that.
Yeah.
It's just on his mind, thinking about just that. I think
Yeah.
the conversation, like the sort of abruptness
Yes.
of Numbra's question,
Yes.
like it's weighing on him a little bit, of just like, oh shoot, like, is it kind of that obvious? You know, maybe I got to take more steps to stop these things from hunting him.
Yeah.
Um,
I think the first thing and the most immediate thing would be to sow rumor. I think that would be your first instinct. Yeah.
And it says on here that I can choose normal, hard, or very hard. I think he would just start with a normal check. I don't think that
Sure.
I need to. I would not pass anything harder. I don't think. So that's what I'm gonna do.
So let's start with that. What specifically are you trying to spread? What rumor are you creating?
So I think he's going to maybe wander out of the Precipice Quarter and even back into the Ascendant Court. Like he's gonna make a whole day of this.
Sure.
And I think he's going to go to taverns or hotels or bars around there and talk about, and like places where he would not be readily known, and talk about the, like, oh, did you hear about this doctor who closed up shop and like moved out of the city or went to the opposite side of the city, or, you know, just trying to
Sure.
to plant the seed that, oh, like, did you hear about this guy who moved not to the Precipice Quarter?
Okay.
Moved anywhere else.
Yeah, literally anywhere else.
And so that is, are you an expert in deception?
No.
Okay. So, I'm still going to let you do this.
Oh, okay.
However, you're going to take a slight penalty for not being an expert in deception.
Okay.
So go ahead and roll a deception check.
Oh God. Okay. I'm gonna hero point that. Worst hero point economy. Good God.
No.
A 5 to a natural 2. So it's a
Zoinks.
natural 2 for a total of a 1.
Okay. So you're going about
buddy.
tavern to bar
One
to
of the 3 skills I'm not trained in.
tavern to bar to marketplace, telling these stories about a doctor. The problem is, you're telling these stories to people who have gone to you for service in the past. You just don't recognize them. And you're talking about this guy.
You
who
should have gone through
has-
your my chart, bro. You should have looked through your chart.
And you're talking about this guy who has moved to Taldor, to Cheliax, to
no.
the Mwangi Expanse, and yet they very clearly know that you're talking about yourself for some strange
In the
reason.
third person.
Dr. Forsyth.
But you don't realize this. Dr. Forsyth does not recognize this as fact because he has, in fact, not recognized his very own patients.
I think he's like, they're like, oh, like, what's your name? And he's like, oh, my name's Jim, but this guy Xavier, he moved.
And they're like, no, I've been to Dr. Forsyth, and that's literally you.
Suddenly all the private practice doctors around Dr. Forsyth get many, many more calls.
Yeah. But again, Forsyth does not recognize this consciously, and thus continues about his way. Bastro.
Okay, so I think Penumbra said he's gonna help me with the.
Yeah, so let me roll an aid for
Yep,
you.
so go ahead and roll that first.
Let me aid you, and you roll diplomacy.
Oh, no.
Gather.
I heard very much that Penumbra was aiding Bastro.
Okay.
Yes,
Well,
that is what I said.
all right. Here we go.
And that sucks because I rolled a natural 20 on my aid check. That is a 28
That's a
on the
plus
crit.
2.
Yeah.
That's a plus 2 to Bastro's roll.
Okay, great. So it's gonna be 16 instead of 14.
And
Instead of the 28 crit success we got from gathering information.
remind me, you're
You're
rolling for
welcome.
the location of the house of the planet.
Correct. Yeah, we're trying to find it basically.
Yeah.
Interesting. Interesting
Is it?
indeed.
Is it interesting? Are you sure?
Did
What if
we
it's not?
barely make that 16?
Hope we did. Oh, honestly, I hope we didn't. That's more interesting.
That's more
So-
depressing.
So, you are told as you are going about. Every time you ask about about the House of the Plains, you are met with like concern. Like, are you actually asking me about this right now? Like, are you serious saying this out loud? Like, because you're above ground. You are in the city proper. Like, people are like, you don't talk about this out here. But you get to one guy who's like kind of sidling an alley, right? And he's looking around, and every once in a while he'll pop open his trench coat and offer a sundial. Be like, hey, you want some
Do you want to buy
sundials?
a sundial?
Wanna buy a
Hey, Bill,
sundial?
what's up?
Yeah, I'm about to say it's Bill.
No, it's the copper hand that like went on a murder spree. He's found a new occupation.
But you ask him, and you're like, hey, so you look like a guy who knows some stuff, right? And he's like, yeah, I'm a guy who knows some stuff, right? And you ask him about the House of the Plains. He's like, oh, you want to know about the House of the Plains? Well, I can help you out for a price. What do you say?
What kind of coin are we talking here?
Look, I'm a simple man. I got simple needs. A couple silver. You got what you know.
I can give you 1 silver.
I don't know. That's not really gonna cover my rent, friend. I'm gonna need at least like 5 times that amount.
That any amount of silver will not cover your rent because in that case you need to move to a better place. But
That's not the conversation we're having, Penumbra.
Tell you what, I'll give you.
This is
4
clearly not a
silver.
conversation about rent.
I'll give you 4 silver and a copper.
Make it 4 silver and 3 copper, and we got a deal.
Done.
Done. You want to know about the House of the
negotiated.
Plains? Look, man, if you want to mess with Jeremy, you can mess with Jeremy, but it's under Eastgate, okay? And he gives you directions to the front door of the House of the Plains.
And it's right underneath the address we got in the letter.
It is, in fact, far away from the address that you got from the
I
letter.
was ready for that.
But he mentions that there's like once more a like faux like sewer entrance that is just off of, let me find the actual map here. Like there's a main road that leads west to east to the quote unquote East Gate. And if you're on the map right now, I'm going to mark it right here. There is a faux sewer entrance right around here that will lead down to the...
sewer entrance, as in, like, it's not really a sewer.
It is not actually a sewer entrance. It
Okay.
is built to look like a sewer entrance. Very similar to the fake sewer entrance that you exited out of from the Royal Rumble. It is a fake sewer entrance that leads down to the front door of the and it's like down an alleyway, so it's not like right on the street. But it's a fake sewer entrance that leads down to the front door of...
Sewer entrance is a weird thing to be a fake front for your operation. Like, wouldn't any city planner with a map of the city be like, that's not real?
Would they?
I don't know.
Would they
That's
take
what I
the
would do.
time?
That's what I would do if I were a city planner. I'd look
I'll
around.
have to grease their hands a little bit.
I'd walk around my city with blueprints and just try to find all the fake sewer entrances that I can.
Sure you would.
So once more, you find information about how to get there. But again, you remember that you do need, in fact, an invitation to get in.
Okay. But now we know.
Should we ask the guy if he knows a way to get an invitation?
This guy's creepy. I don't like him. So I don't want to talk
I think
to him.
the entrance enough is fine. I think
Yeah.
I think me and Penumbra are just gonna take off after we figure out the location of the entrance, basically.
Thank you, strange sundial man. I hope everyone buys all your sundials today.
Are you sure you don't want a sundial?
I'm
Tell
quite
Bill I
sure.
said hi, okay?
I got a Smolex for you if you want it.
Oh my god.
And we just leave.
Hey, well, hey,
Just turn
all right,
around.
all right. It wasn't a real Smolex, but it's on the cheap. No? Okay. All right, bye.
That's Smolex.
What? Smolex makes good
Interesting,
sundials. What can I say?
Okay, so we know that that's there, and then the thing. Okay, cool.
So, you all reconvene back at your apartment. Yes.
I haven't done my thing.
I'm sorry, what were you
Choose-
doing yet?
I was gathering information on
Alamir.
Alamir.
Go ahead and roll a diplomacy.
I already did way back when. It was a 25.
Yo.
25.
Alamir, you say. Alamir.
Interesting.
Aggressively flips pages.
Alamir.
Unfortunately, you are unable to glean any details
Oh.
of the Alamure family that you were not already aware of.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
That being that the man by the name of Fayati Alamure was sent into disgrace by a courier some number of years ago due to his illicit dealings with various members of other royal families. However,
Whoa.
Feati did have a daughter. A daughter by the name of Fortuna, who seems to be unaccounted for at the moment.
Uh-oh. This is a revenge subplot.
So to be clear, when you said we don't learn anything, you actually meant that we actually do learn something.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Miss Fortuna.
Penumbra and Dr. Xavier Forsyth and Bastard Baltorin learn nothing because you're not
When you said
there.
that- when you said that nobody learns
I'm
anything,
sorry, I was not speaking to you, Jackson.
here's what I already
Jackson.
knew, and I add a
Jackson.
new thing.
Jackson, I was not speaking to you. You may stop now.
So to be clear, what happened here?
It is
So
very
to be
clear that I was not speaking to you, Jackson.
I'm
So to
I'm the
be
proud
clear,
owner
you
of a new
said that I
sundial.
learned nothing new.
I said nothing
But-
new except.
Mm.
So stop.
Did you say
Except
I
all
don't
this
know.
new information.
Roll back the tape.
Roll back the tape.
You learned nothing except these 10 things. That's
You're
all
right.
say.
I'm sorry. I'll never give you new information ever again because apparently I can't present it well enough. So at this point, I'm done. You guys can just talk amongst yourself.
All right, so
I'll
we
go.
can cross off gather information from our downtime activities.
wait.
We don't need to do that one anymore. But
Hey, if our GM just left, guess what, guys? We're level 4. Let's level up.
there it is, baby.
We skip a level.
Three.
Hey,
Through 3.
why go level 4? Why
You're
go
right.
level 4? Why it's
Yeah.
not there?
Yeah, I'm a god now.
We're
I'm a
level
deity.
8. No.
I'm screw it. I'm in the pantheon of gods. I ascended mortal coil, and I'm now a god. So
Wow.
I mean,
20.
I still think
Fuck
that the plan should be use Jeremy's resources or get Jeremy on our side to get access to defeating the Copperhand. That seems to be priority numero uno, right? Not only is the Copperhand like bad and mean and awful to us, but like we need to make sure that they don't expose Twinkletoes and ruin her life.
And they stole our money.
And they stole our gosh dang
And we
money.
need to find my parents.
And also
make
if you
sure
could
they're
find-
not dead.
Right, so the Copperhand's like pretty much not cool to be around anymore.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, they're definitely seeming like the bad people.
public
right now.
enemy.
We also gotta visit this House of Plains. House
Mhm.
of the Plains.
The House of the Plains.
The Plain House.
Now that we know where
There it
the
is.
entrance is.
A house.
I feel like we could just sneak in.
Really? That's your plan?
I mean, that's a plan.
That's your big motive. We just found out where it is, and we're like, yeah, we'll sneak in. But for now, I mean, like Wheel Day is approaching.
You all reconvene on the night of Toil Day. Is there any discussion that goes on to transfer this information you all have independently gathered?
Did we all gather information? I forget. Did anybody get any
I
information?
gathered
don't think
information.
so. Yeah.
I will
gathered-
share everything I learned over the past 2 days with everybody.
Same. Yeah, all information is now public information, except
I
for the fact that Dr. Forsyth is a Duskwalker. That's staying
Well,
right here.
I think Dr. Forsyth will call a Secreteers meeting just like Twinkletoes did the previous night, and he will rehash the conversation and sort of start the same way and say, so I haven't been honest about everything. And like,
Are we gonna learn why you're blue?
yes, that is
Oh,
the conversation I wish to have.
Am I the only one in this group who's been unapologetically himself? Am I the only one?
Well, listen. Some of us have been hunted, specifically by powerful people, and have.
I was imprisoned in
It's
a cage
crazy that
for
you
a
mentioned that
year.
because it's not just one of you.
Yeah, hunted by otherworldly beings.
Yeah. So. Like,
Does Dr.
sometimes-
Forsyth mention that?
Yeah, actually, we should have that conversation. So he has the whole conversation he had with Starbear. I'm not going to redo all of that, but he says, and one thing I didn't mention, Penumbra, was that the beings that are hunting me are the beings that just kind of decide who gets to be a Duskwalker. And I may have tricked them when I learned about this whole picking and choosing of Duskwalkers to become one, which is why they're hunting me.
Oh, so you're like illegally a Duskwalker?
So you cheated death.
Well, I got very upset that, the gods are just,
Penumbra, go ahead and roll a
Wishy-washy.
religion check.
Yeah, thank you.
So, will these gods, will they come after us? 'Cause
They're
we're
not
friends?
gods, to be clear. They're not gods.
The people
They're-
who
Will,
choose.
will these powerful beings that choose whether or not you live, will they come after your friends as well?
No, they just want me back, I think.
13 religion.
13?
Shitty roll.
You're not sure.
You know what? Screw it. I'm gonna hero point it.
Yo.
Even worse.
Can I roll a religion as well?
If you are trained in religion, you can, yes.
I am trained.
Then go for it.
Oh, natural 18 for a 22.
So,
No.
you are familiar with the fact that Dr. Forsyth is talking around the concept of psychopomps.
Whoa.
So psychopomps are servants of, shall we say, the
Pharasma, right?
Pharasma, yes,
Yeah,
but I'm trying to figure out how to say this. So, Pharasma is the god of death and the
cycle
of death and rebirth.
Goddess.
Goddess, yes.
Yeah.
Pharasma ultimately judges every soul that enters the boneyard, the kind of in between from life and the afterlife. You gather the fact that at some point along the way, Dr. Forsyth seemed to trick a psychopomp, one of the bureaucracy who sorts souls into their afterlife, into incorrectly sorting him back to the mortal plane.
Imagine that's a difficult thing to do.
Which is why he is currently being hunted by psychopomps, as it appears he is saying.
He makes it. He is very clear that unless anyone figures that out on their own, he does not mention the word psychopump specifically. So if that's something Twinkle Toes figures out, the doctor does not say that out loud. He does not want to.
However, the words you said were telling enough to
Well, yes,
anyone who has a religious.
The people who are
yeah.
the people who do these things,
Yeah.
the workers of Pharasma or of
Yeah.
death.
So
right?
unless Twinkle Toes, unless you specifically say those words, again, this is all knowledge only privy to yourself. So do with that as you will.
Yeah, the rest of us only
Would I
hear
know that it's bad to say their name, like that there's power in?
It's not a Voldemort situation. It's that's
But
not
you'd
true.
also
It's-
think that it's better not to talk about it.
psychopumps are a bad thing to cross. So
I mean, they are literally the shepherds of the dead. Think about they row the river Styx. They're like Chiron. They are the people who do the dirty work of organizing souls and death. They are massively powerful creatures.
So
if you want, you could roll
Doctor.
against motive and figure out why I'm hiding that.
Oh yeah, could I do that?
Sure, so go ahead and roll a perception check against Forsyth, your deception.
My deception DC, right?
It would be against your deception DC, yes.
Which would be very easy to beat. I'm gonna tell you right now.
So Twinkle Toes, go ahead and tell me what you rolled.
I rolled a 19.
Oh yeah, you crushed it. Yeah, the doctor is he's trying as hard as possible to be honest without giving reason for panic that he crossed a psychopump, which could kill and just eradicate so much, so many things like that. He's trying to be honest without causing panic.
Doctor, do we have reason to be afraid?
No, because they have yet to find me in my decades of Second Life.
But you said
Though
that you found a warning from them?
they are getting closer, but they have not found me yet. And I am taking very keen measures to sow rumors that I am elsewhere.
All right.
Very, very, very keen. Yes.
Um. What would you like us to do?
If Bastro, if the fallen angel makes a reappearance, the plague doctor mask kind of looks like a psychopup. Just so you know, it's a little unnerving. Just wanna put that out there.
I want to make sure you're on your toes, Doctor. So
Oh wait,
First time, though.
I didn't say psychopup actually. Shoot, crap. Well,
Yeah?
he said it.
You
He said
didn't?
it. Nope. I said it. I said it out loud. Said it out loud.
those creatures
Right.
you're referring to, I really hope they don't find out where you live again, because they did do it the first time.
Don't worry, I'm taking keen measures, like I said.
Keen measures.
I was talking to the neighbor, and they were saying how you ran into the bar earlier, telling all your previous patients that you had left town, even though you were standing right there. I'm
I
just
don't know
saying.
what you're talking
There's
about.
some
I was
rumors I heard.
three districts to the north. I was nowhere near here.
You know, I was speaking to one of our neighbors recently, and they looked a bit like a psychopop, if we're being completely honest. I'm sure there's nothing. I'm sure that's not connected at all, but we might want to look into that.
That's concerning. Anyway, I wanted to share. I'm now done sharing.
There's more?
No, I said I'm done.
Oh, I thought you said I'm not done sharing.
No, I'm done. I want
was
to
like,
move on.
please do continue.
Let's talk to Isabella.
Yeah, I think tomorrow. I think we rest, and then tomorrow comes.
So,
Yeah.
once more, you all fall into your beds, burdened by the weight of new knowledge. Knowledge that is potentially concerning, not only about the situation at hand, but the situation regarding some of your fellows and literal roommates. Roommates who may or may not have had their prior lodging raided by extraplanar beings. I don't know. But
Casual.
you all arise on a wheel day, eagerly expecting your meeting with Isabella at the predestined time and location. And with that, we'll end it for this week. Thank you all so much for joining us for episode 16 of Heroes of Absalom. If you're enjoying what you see, please, 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 please do follow us on Twitch. It helps us out so much. Also, check out our Twitter and our Instagram for some behind-the-scenes art and other cool stuff. Thank you so much. We'll see you next week for episode 17 of Heroes of Absalom. We hope you have a good one and have a good night. Thank you so
Adios.
much.
Have a
Bye.
good night, everybody.
See you next week.